Mr. Chair, I think this Mr. Willie Ong is a main character in this case. He's one of the central figures. I strongly suggest that this committee should issue a subpoena to Mr. Willie Ong.
May this representation move that we invite Mr. Willie Ong in the next hearing of this committee. So move, Mr. Chair.
The committee would seek the approval of the Office of the Speaker to issue a subpoena to the said personalities.
We're not accusing anyone yet, no, Mr. Mayor Tumang. Pero gusto po natin malaman.
Congressman Pimentel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to direct my question to Barangay Captain Bautista again. Cap, aside from being a barangay captain, meron ho ba kayong negosyo? Anong pinagkikitaan po ninyo?
Your Honor, ano po kami, farmers, then I'm a civil engineer po, minsan nakakuha ng trabaho po.
Mr. Chair, hindi po ba kayo nangungontrata?
Pero po akong construction company, Your Honor.
Ayun nga po yung tatanong ko. Yung susunod ko pong tanong, gaano po katotoo na ikaw ho daw ang nangontrata ng warehouse doon sa Empire 999?
Wala po ako kinontratang warehouse po doon, Your Honor.
I remember Barangay Captain Bautista that you are under oath and under a penalty of perjury and under our house rules, we can cite you for contempt. Ulitin ko po, kayo po ba ang nangontrata doon sa warehouse ni Mr. Willie Ong?
Your Honor, wala po akong ginawang warehouse kay Mr. Willie Ong, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, for the information of everyone, we conducted our own monitoring. Ang usap-usapan po doon sa barangay, kayo daw po ang nangontrata ng warehouse.
Wala po, Your Honor, doon sa warehouse.
Anyway, Mr. Chair, I'd like to direct my next question to Mayor Tumang. Mayor Tumang, sino po ba itong si Mr. Roy Gomez?
Sa empleyado po dati ng munisipyo po.
Hanggang ngayon po ba, Mr. Chair, empleyado pa itong si Mr. Roy Gomez?
O terminus po yun, Your Honor.
So, wala na ho siya sa munisipyo po ngayon?
Wala na po ngayon.
Anong trabaho niya, Mayor Tumang, nung sa panahon ninyo si Mr. Roy Gomez?
Sa ano po? Part po sa GSO.
But he has the trust and confidence galing po sa inyo po, no? Balita ko po, parang executive assistant to nyo itong si Mr. Roy Gomez.
Hindi naman po, Your Honor.
So, wala po siya kung sinasabi ho ninyo, Mr. Chair, na nasa PGSO siya or rather a GSO. So, wala siya po sa opisina ng assessor po.
Wala po, Your Honor.
Ngayon, ang tanong ko po, Mayor Tumang, because I have a copy of a notice of assessment from the assessor's office, signed by the assessor, Mr. Reyes. The notice of assessment was directed to Empire 999 Realty Corporation. Doon po sa notice of assessment, ang pinagtatakahan ko lang po, bakit si Mr. Roy Gomez ang nag-receive? Siya pong pumirma.
Sa assessment po, Your Honor?
Yes. May ina-assess po yun. Ina-assess po yung mga taxes or something. Pwede ko po ipapaprint yun para makita ho ninyo yung...
Minsan po, Your Honor, nag-aenti po sa pag-process ng mga documents sa pag-transfer ng title. Ang alam ko po, ganun po, Your Honor.
So from being a GSO officer,
Ahente pa.
ahente ho siya.
Sideline po, nagpa-process po ng mga documents.
So meaning, kung ganun po, kasi siya nagpadala nung, siya ho ang nag-receive, siya ang pumirma in behalf ng Empire 999 Realty. So, ibig po sabihin, based on your statement, siya nag-facilitate nung lupa ng Empire 999 Realty. Ganun po ba, Mayor Tumang?
Hindi ko po masyadong alam po yung iba.
But Mayor Tumang, bakit po inalaw ninyo si Mr. Roy Gomez na mag-sideline po siya? Municipal employee po siya.
Personal po niya po yun, Your Honor. Hindi ko na po siya nakokontrol regarding on that. Kasi po siguro maliit po yung sahod niya kaya kung minsan nakakapag-sideline po.
Nagpaalam po ba sa iyo, Mr. Chair, si Mr. Roy Gomez na siya ay pipirma mag-receive doon sa Notice of Assessment for Empire Realty?
Wala ko pong alam, Your Honor.
Nagpaalam po ba siya, Mr. Chair, na siya ay mag-aayos ng lupa para kay Mr. Willie Ong, Mr. Chair?
Wala ko pong alam, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, I think this Mr. Willie Ong is a main character in this case. He's one of the central figures. And I strongly suggest, since we have already invited him, or rather this committee have already invited him, but unfortunately he did not show up, I strongly suggest that this committee should issue a subpoena to Mr. Willie Ong.
Okay.
Because kailangan natin siya. Siya ang isang aktor dito eh. Yung iba dito, supporting actor lang eh. So, I strongly suggest na kailangan natin ng presensya ni Mr. Willie Ong during the next hearing. Also,
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congressman Acop.
since the Honorable Pimentel is not a member of this committee and is not allowed to file a motion, may this representation move that we invite Mr. Willie Ong in the next hearing of this committee. So move, Mr. Chair.
Second motion.
Yeah, there's a motion duly seconded to invite Mr. Willie Ong in this committee hearing, in the subsequent committee hearings of this committee. And we direct the committee secretary to issue a subpoena upon the approval of the Office of the Speaker to the said personality. The motion is carried.
Mr. Chair, may I know from the COMSEC whether Mr. Goy Gomez has been invited today? Since Mr. Chair, the same likewise, Mr. Goy Gomez has not showed up, may I also suggest that he be issued a subpoena for him to attend during the next hearing, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Acop.
Again, for the same reason, may respectfully move that we invite Mr. Gomez or issue a subpoena so that Mr. Gomez will attend the next hearing of this committee. So move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to invite Mr. Roy Gomez to the subsequent committee hearings of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, duly seconded. Hearing no objection, the motion is carried. But let me correct earlier my ruling as to the issuance of a subpoena. The procedure is we will issue an invitation, and if the invitation is not honored, then the committee is compelled to issue a subpoena. In this case, we issued an invitation. We sent out invitation to Mr. Willie Ong and Mr. Roy Gomez, but there was no acknowledgement on their part. Therefore, the committee would seek the approval of the Office of the Speaker to issue a subpoena to the said personalities. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, did we invite Mr. Jonathan Tan, the chairman of SBMA?
Yes, he was invited, and former head of SBMA was likewise invited. Is Mr. Jonathan Tan present from SBMA?
Mr.
And-
Chair, considering that the case involves Port of Subic and Mr. Jonathan is the chairman, I again strongly suggest that we issue, or this committee issue, subpoena to Mr. Jonathan Tan so he could shed light on some of the questions that needs to be answered, Mr. Chair.
Okay, likewise, a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
for the same reason, may I move that we invite Mr. Jonathan Tan in the next hearing of this committee. So move, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Second motion.
Are there anyone else who we want to invite so that it's just going to be in one motion?
So far, Mr. Chair, yun lang po ang request ko po, Mr. Chair.
Okay, since there is a motion duly seconded to invite Mr. Jonathan Tan in our next hearing of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, hearing no objection, the motion is carried.
Mr. Chair, last few questions. Sandali na lang po ito. To Barangay Captain Bautista, it shows that you have had a few conversations with Mr. Willie Ong. Paano ho kayo nag-uusap? Sa personal po, sa text, o tinatawagan po niyo siya?
Your Honor, no, minsan po kasi pumunta sila ng barangay hall. Yun po, nag-letter of intent sila na kumuha ng building permit. Doon po namin sa barangay hall, Your Honor.
But I'm very sure, Mr. Chair, na pagkatapos ninyo nagkausap ng personal, may mga follow po yun na mga ikangang mga tanong-tanong. So you could have probably nag-text po kayo, Mr. Chair.
Your Honor, bali po pinakilala niya yung secretary niya. Yan na lang po naglalakad ng mga papeles nila.
So hindi kayo nagte-text, Mr. Chair? Hindi kayo nagtatawagan?
Minsan po tumatawag kung nagpa-follow up lang po, Your Honor.
Kung marapatin sana ninyo, Barangay Captain, Mr. Chair, payag ho ba kayo na isubmit yung cellphone nyo for forensic investigation? Makita lang po namin ano yung pinag-uusapan nyo ni Mr. Willie Ong.
Payag po ako, Your Honor.
Okay, then we'll set it up, Mr. Chair, to see whether... kasi nakikita ko po, Mr. Chair, parang yung Municipality of Mexico, they're privy to the activities of Mr. Willie Ong, starting from the barangay all the way up to the municipality. Now, Mr. Roy Gomez, Mr. Chair, is a very close confidant of Mayor Tumang. Since Mayor Tumang was the one who approved the building permit, who approved the occupancy permit. So I am very sure, and according to his statement, he also admitted that they had a few conversations. Dalawa po sila, ni Kapitan Bautista and ni Mayor Tumang. So we just want to know, huwag sana po kayong magagalit, Mayor Tumang, no? Pero gusto lang po namin malaman, kasi 2 beses na ho sa Pampanga and then Mexico po, and this is one of the biggest drug busts, whether the officials from barangay to municipality, we're not accusing anyone yet, no, Mr. Mayor Tumang. Pero gusto po natin malaman kung involved po kayong mga local officials doon sa drug bust, Mayor Tumang. And Mr. Chair, that would be my last question. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Pimentel. Yes, Congressman Acop.
Mr. Chair, before we deal with the motion to have an executive session, may I request that the municipality of Mexico Pampanga would submit to this committee the number of warehouses insofar as or located in Mexico Pampanga, the owners of these warehouses, the building, business and occupancy permits, and the owners of the land if the landowners are not the owners of the warehouses. So move, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there is a motion to, as stated, as stated by Congressman by the movant.
Second.
So duly seconded. Hearing no objection, the motion is carried. Comsec, you're directed to comply with the request of the good congressman from Antipolo.